powered by Riverside FM.
Powered by Riverside.
Welcome, UP Nation. This is your host, Lionel Jones, and this is Unconventional Playbook. Like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Of course, it helps with the algorithms and helps the station to grow. Minnesota Timberwolves lose tonight 108-109 to the Dallas Mavericks. And this is going to be a short one. Dallas Maverick, hats off to them. Luka Doncic is who I told you he was. A triple-double tonight by Luka. Just really controlled the game. 32 points, 13 assists, 10 rebounds. Luka is being Luka. Why this guy doesn't get more praise when it comes to NBA basketball players. The guy is a killer. He has the most complete game in the league. How he dominates the game like that is because the guy is so intelligent. He works to get to his spots, and he understands his game. And best of all, he keeps quiet outside of playing the game between the lines. He comes to get you every night. He's the boogeyman. You know how the boogeyman, when you go to sleep, he comes to get you? Well, the Timberwolves were sleeping on Luka Doncic, and he came like the boogeyman, like the thief in the night. That's been Luka Doncic. On the other side of the ball, let me start off by saying I just want to apologize to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I got to apologize to them, and I think our fan base needs to apologize to them as well. I think we've put them in a position where I think the moment is just too big for them. I think the moment is just too big, and more specifically, I'm talking about our younger players, and to get more specific, I'm talking about Anthony Edwards. You are seeing a player wilt like a flower that hasn't had water in a very long time under the pressures of the NBA playoff. And that's not saying anything derogatory about his game or how great he's going to be in the future. But on the UP, we deal with what we see in realism. So we're not going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to tell you like it is. You are seeing a great player wilt underneath the pressures of playing in the Western Conference Finals and the playoffs. He's lethargic. He has hands on hips multiple times. He's hesitant. He's not playmaking. All he wants to do is shoot threes. And once he gets downhill and drives, he's uncertain how to finish to the basket. So every time he goes to the basket, what does he do? He screams, "Hey," to try to get the foul call from the referees so he can go to the free throw line and shoot the easy ones. He's starting to wilt under the pressure of the playoffs, but he's 22 years old. And I'm not saying this as a derogatory thing and that people should look upon him as being bad and he's failing us in the playoffs. I'm just keeping it real about what I see. I coach the game, and I see players wilt all the time under pressure. Some people excel when the lights are on. Those are the greats. Those are the Tom Bradys, the Michael Jordans. When the lights are bright, that's when they play their best. Other players, when the lights are on and there's pressure and there's national media and all eyes are on them, they wilt. Kirk Cousins. We don't know whether Anthony Edwards is Tom Brady or Kirk Cousins. because he's 22 years old. And so when you're 22, as you start maturing, you're going to go through rough patches like this. Well, this is what you're seeing from Anthony Edwards. And I'm going to tell you, everybody is going to say, well, he's going to come with it the next game because the national broadcast team on TNT said it tonight. Anthony Edwards is going to come out aggressive. Anthony Edwards is going to do it tonight because he's got to do it. You don't think Anthony Edwards knew that he had to have a great game tonight? But there was nothing he can do about it. His legs were heavy. His palms are sweaty. He's nervous. He's hesitant. Moment's too big. As a 22-year-old, where he is in his game right now, moment's too big. This is the Western Conference Final. You got Shaq sitting in the front row. You got Charles Barkley down in Minneapolis going to every restaurant that there is. I mean, this is new for the city of Minneapolis. We haven't had this much attention when it comes to NBA basketball. You can't even compare the KG run because now you got social media. It's bigger. It's just the game is just completely different. So the attention that the Minnesota Timberwolves are getting right now, you could argue and say they've never had this much attention. And Anthony Edwards is wilting under the pressure. Karl Anthony Towns is wilting under the pressure. The only thing I'll say about Karl Anthony Towns is I don't think anybody in the NBA circles consider him a great basketball player. Karl Anthony Towns, this was his 30th playoff game with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Karl Anthony Towns has shown you this is who he is. Like, there are going to be games where he's going to be there, and there's going to be games where he's not going to be there. That's just who he is. He flip-flops. He will forever be that. This is his body of work. He's been in the league for a long time. And if he were to come back and score 30 tomorrow and hit the game-winning shot, it doesn't mean that anything's changed. That's just the ebb and flows of Karl Anthony Towns. But Anthony Edwards is supposed to be the guy, man. He's supposed to be the guy. And he's wilting. Not saying that this is something that can't be fixed. I'm just saying he's wilting under the pressure. For those of you that are going to jump down my throat and send me emails, you're seeing it. You just don't want to admit it. You see the difference between Luka and Kyrie and Anthony Edwards right now. If you don't see the difference, you don't know basketball. If you don't see the difference, you just don't know basketball. So, Timberwolves have a tough hill to climb. Another home playoff loss, as I said in my last pod of the UP. What does home court advantage really mean? What are you fighting for all year long? Can't win at home. Can't win at home. I feel sorry for the Minneapolis fans. They had a block party down there for the T-Wolves, and you get so pumped up. And again, I'm going to say it just like I said it in the Denver Nuggets game. You can't win one game at home. You can't win one for the fans. Oh, well. That's my apology to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think as a fan base, I just think we need to back off and we just need to enjoy. We need to enjoy the rest of the playoffs. Those of you that like basketball, no expectations. Just go out there and let them play. And if we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. We should be happy with just making the Western Conference Finals. We should be happy with just making the Western Conference Finals. I think that's just where this team is. Anything more is just a lot of pressure. I mean, if you think the pressure is huge on them now, just imagine if they were to somehow get past the Dallas Mavericks and then they've got to face the Boston Celtics in Boston Garden, in that arena. You're talking about nerves personified. See, I don't think we're ready for that. I speculate that the Timberwolves will be competitive and they will fight. but I don't expect to see a great Anthony Edwards down the stretch. I think he'll be good in moments. I don't think we're going to see a great Karl Anthony Towns down the stretch. He'll be good in moments, because if you can't do it at home when you need to win and put your pedal to the metal, then we just can't count on you doing it. It just means you're not ready. It means you're not ready for the moment. You know who is ready for the moment? I'm going to give him his flowers. As I told you before, I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but I'm going to pat myself on the back. Again, if you go back to the UP a couple of pods ago, the one player that I said I wasn't worried about was Naz Reid. Naz Reid brought it tonight. His energy is just a little bit different than everybody else's when he comes in. He's someone that you can count on for him to give you what he gives you every night. There is not anything that's going to happen where Naz is not going to bring that desperation type play. His numbers may look different, but you know that he's going to bring it. Tonight, 23 points, 2 rebounds, but he made a lot of intangible plays. That's Naz Reid. Naz Reid came ready to play tonight. So the Minnesota Timberwolves will be going back to Dallas 0-2 in hostile environment. They got to try to win 2 games there to try to get back the home court advantage that they earned. And we'll go from there. But it's going to be a tough hill. They've got to get it together. And I don't know what the answer is. Their best player is wilting under a lot of heat and a lot of pressure. And I think Anthony Edwards is going to have a stellar career. I think he's going to be great. But now as a 22 years old, I mean, imagine when you were 22. Could you hold the weight of a NBA franchise or NFL franchise or, you know, a city or a state on your shoulders? That's what Anthony Edwards is doing. And as great as he is, and he'll never admit this, but the moment has just become too big for him. He's not ready to carry his team through the gauntlet of the NBA playoffs when all the focus from every coaching staff and every player that he faces is on him to get him stopped. It is exhausting. He is tired all the time. He's got his hands on his hips, and he's not exerting any more energy now than he did in the regular season. And you didn't see any of that in the regular season. But when you magnify the games and you have the media attention and the attention of every team that you play, that becomes mentally exhausting, and it creates a lot of anxiety. So I haven't watched his post-game comments tonight, but it'll be interesting to see what he says, because he looks dead. Heavy legs, sweaty palms, nervousness, hesitation. Game 3 is on Sunday. I don't know, man. I hope they win. I hope they come in and play well. I was the one that said I wasn't worried about this series. I was flat out wrong. I thought the Minnesota Timberwolves were ready for this moment. And again, this is why I'm apologizing, because as a fan, I just feel like I put too much pressure on. I think we as Minnesota Timberwolves fans going down there, packing a house, T-shirts, waving the towels, all the attention, I think we put too much pressure on this team, and they're not ready for that. So I'm apologizing to the team, because I've been a big part of that. I've been thinking that they could handle Kyrie and they could handle Luka, and they're just not ready. They're just not ready to do that job yet. So hopefully they can find a way to compete and at least get back in this thing on Sunday, but things aren't feeling very good and looking very good. So like I said, this is going to be a quick one. This has been a UP. Like and subscribe. We will preview Game 3. Post that at some point on Saturday. Everyone have a good weekend. Try not to let this one get you down. Enjoy the holiday weekend. This has been the UP Unconventional Playbook. See you when I see you.
Powered by Riverside.